going on, Hey Unk fam? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. As always, I'm your Uncle Shannon. I'm joined by my brothers, Uncle Mark Atwater.
Hey.
Uncle Stuart McDay.
What's up?
You know, we're here with a very special episode today, one that is very near and dear to all of our hearts. We're really going to dive deep into fatherhood. You know, what does that mean for us? What were our experiences with our fathers, both the biological and the father figures in our lives, and how that shaped us as men, as fathers, as brothers. So this conversation may get tough in parts because we do want to be as open and honest about those relationships as we can to give you a real view of what life is really like. So strap in, get your favorite beverage, and welcome to another episode of the Hey Unk Podcast. This is Daddy Issues. What up, fellas?
What's going on?
I don't know it. So,
it's
man,
great to be back with my peoples.
It is. It's good to see you, brother.
Yeah, we've been on a hiatus, man, for a minute.
Yeah. Somebody our scheduler been off and gallivanting.
I had some things I needed to work out. Okay, I got things working out.
Like
just life, man.
Care to share? I mean, we being real and authentic.
We are being real and authentic at this point, though. Life.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good. Great talk.
I do know y'all got a lot going on. Both your babies getting married.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't know how it's y'all's daughters get married and I'm the one that's getting broke. I don't know how that work out.
That's because you're the great uncle.
Yeah, you know, what was that? The fun uncle.
That's right.
The fun uncle.
Yeah,
that is me.
When they want to have fun, because in order for them to do these things, they want to be cloaked properly. And, you know, to do that is for the fun uncle.
That's right.
Yeah.
Who better to go see?
Dress them for the occasion. I mean, look at your exquisite taste.
That's right.
Who else are we going to rely on in moments like that?
I ain't gonna lie, I love it. I love it.
We know you wouldn't have it any other way.
I would not have it any other way.
That's right.
But yeah, man. So, and with me, my baby out in the world, saving lives now.
Empty nester.
Empty nester.
Full-fledged, full-blown empty nester.
Yes, sir. My house so damn quiet. It's crazy. It is crazy.
I get it on a part-time basis.
Yeah.
You know,
So
they still in and out. So I might get a flash of it for a few days, but somebody always figure out, all right, they can't have a whole weekend too. So
Right.
Well, we can find some people to come over to your house. Okay. You sure?
I'm perfectly fine.
Okay. All right.
Perfectly fine.
Got a couple of little ones running around.
you know what they say? Ain't no party like a fuller party.
That's right.
Because the fuller parties don't stop.
Although I am mad, I ain't seen my nephew in like 2 weeks, bro.
Hey, take that out with the niece.
I ain't seen my nephew in 2 weeks, and that ain't right. He gonna be a grown man
That's right.
before I see him.
I saw a picture of him. Got a little mustache, girl.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna see him in the morning, buddy. I can't love my grandson. All right.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna dive into this topic again. It's very near and dear to our hearts, and hope you find some common cause in this conversation, and maybe trigger some conversations you need to have with your father or maybe with your kids, depending on what your relationship is. So I want to start off, Stu. What are those earliest memories that you have of your father?
I'm glad you asked. I've given that some thought, and I learned something in just a little bit of time as I thought about that. So when we were young, and it was just me and Mom and Pop, we lived with my grandmother. One night, Pops come home and decides to, and I'm like 2 years old. And if I get this wrong, Mom, I'm bad in terms of the age. But Pops decided we gonna share beers. We gonna share beer. Now, I'm sure it didn't quite go down that way, but maybe I was restless or whatever the case may be. But
You needed to sit.
I got some beer, yeah. And I'm drunk, and I falls off the top bunk because that's how we was sleeping. Hit my head the whole nine, and as I think over my life and when I actually started drinking on my own will, on my own accord, I would go hard.
Yeah.
Because not only did that incident happen, Pops, he'll go out, come back, he'll crash at the crib, and he got that Miller High Life right between his legs that he just opened. So my younger brother and myself would go grab it, take turns, and we'll put it back. It'd be full when we grab it, empty when we put it back, so he would think he drunk it, and he was none the wiser, never. So, so we did that often as we were kids. So that's not all my pop did. Let's be clear.
Let's make this clear. You better
That's early.
Yeah. That's what we did in the early times. I mean, besides that, Pop worked a lot. So I don't really remember doing traditional or what we perceive as traditional, go outside in front of the house and toss the ball kind of stuff. But he did show up once we started playing sports. He was, taking us back and forth to practice and eventually became a coach. He was my coach in particular first. And that's when we started really, really bonding.
Connecting.
Yeah. And we would talk about things a little bit more so than before. So I guess we were getting old and he felt like we could handle some type of conversation. So.
So your question as it relates to biological father?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, it would have to be, again, my father and my mom were not together. I mean, I was 2 years old when they separated. So probably had to be about 6. Yeah, between 4 and 6. And, was at my aunt's and he showed up in this nice Impala. It was a convertible and he wanted to take me for a ride. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. But outside of that, that was all I really remember of him. He's incarcerated, so we'll get into that. But yeah, and then we reconnected later in life and whatnot to share that, a little later on. But that's my fondest beginning memory of him.
Okay. Yeah, and my earliest memory, and I remember it because it was a traumatic time in my life. I was 4 years old, and me and my cousin Sean were in the front yard at my grandma's playing, as we always did, because we were inseparable in those days. We were more like twins than we were cousins. And to a certain extent, my cousin Kurt, too, the three of us, we were thick as thieves. And I remember seeing this dude pull up in a white Lincoln Continental Mark IV, white leather interior, all of that. Nice ride, Big Daddy. And these two guys get out. They walk up the steps of grandma's and, hey, where your mama? Who are you? What do you want with my mama? Right? I didn't play them games back then, right? Well, come to find out, that was my dad. And they had been talking, and a couple of days go by, they get married. So apparently they've been talking this whole time. I just didn't know. Well, the ramification of that is they get married. We're all moving to West Virginia. Now, at that time, all I knew was my granddad and my uncles.
Yeah.
That was it. And me and my cousins would roll. That was my whole world. And now you're telling me
I'm out of here.
that I got to go somewhere where I don't know nobody?
Wow.
Bruh, the pictures from the wedding were hilarious. And they are still hilarious to this day. Because it was a double wedding. My Aunt Cindy got married too. And the wedding was at the Nile, the club, right? So me and Sean were ring bearers in the wedding. Now, every single picture of us in this wedding, we are pissed because I knew that I had to leave. So skip forward, we in the car about to leave, and my uncles always tell the story, and it's funny now. But I'm in the back window of the car. When car seat, didn't nobody use seatbelts back then
not.
either. Feral kids.
The
And
70s.
I done jumped up in the back window of the car, and I'm hitting on the glass, crying, screaming that I don't want to go.
Miss
That
that
Child
man's white
Protective
car.
Services.
That's right.
Look.
You hear me?
Right.
You messed up that man's white.
Man, the hell with that car. My whole world was coming to an end. And my uncles always say that was the first time they saw my granddad cry. Is when as
That's
we
big.
were pulling
Yeah.
off, you know.
That's big.
Yeah, so that started off our relationship. It started off rocky, and it did never get much better. So it was a challenging relationship, to say the least. We'll get into that a little bit more as we go on. But yeah, that was my earliest kind of memory of my father. And some of those experiences really do shape who you become. Because for a long time, even though when we moved to Wheeling, I made lifelong friends. I have friends that I grew up with in Wheeling, and I still love them to this day. Our next door neighbors were the Stradwick family. They are my family, right? To this day. And we still visit, we go see each other, we celebrate and mourn together. So some good came of it. But that whole situation really shaped our relationship from the beginning. I don't think I ever got past that.
Wow.
How long were you guys there?
I was there for 4.5 years, but I would come back to North Carolina every summer. And then I remember this was right before 5th grade. I always remember because of school. I was down here in North Carolina. I was at my grandparents' house. Me and Hoss sitting on the couch watching Westerns on a Saturday afternoon. You know how it go. And I think I was due to go back in a couple of weeks. I look at my grandfather and I said, "Granddad, I don't want to go back." He looked at me. He said, "Okay." And I never went back. I didn't end up going back to Wheeling until I think I was 16. Yeah, I had to be because I drove.
You drove? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't. So I came back down to North Carolina when I was 10. And then probably 2 or 3 years later, they broke up and my mom ended up coming back with my brothers and sisters. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, that was, I mean, bro, even a couple of times I ran away. They caught me at the bus station, bro.
Bus station.
At the bus station.
Wow.
8 years old. I'm at the bus station, dog. I'm out this piece.
What is going? Oh, okay.
Bruh, you got to understand, you go from being king of the world. I'm the first grandson
Get
in
it.
my family.
I get it.
I got all these uncles, great, everybody. So I had it made to going somewhere where not a cousin, not one.
You
That's
went
a
from-
lot.
Yeah, went from being spoiled to just old regular knucklehead. Okay.
Bruh, it was rough. It was, yeah, if it hadn't been for Mika and Terrell and, you know, a few other key people in Wheeling, that time would have been miserable. Yeah. So how did your relationship, especially when your relationship changed and you and your dad started talking a lot more,
Yeah.
how did that start to shape you? Did the relationship change when y'all started having those conversations?
Did, but not, it wasn't like monumental movement. I mean, because, again, I grew up blessed. I mean, that's just the bottom line. My dad was just a dude. He worked hard. Man, a few words. So when we did, I mean, I was just happy to have the time to where I felt like, you know, we could appreciate each other. You know, it wasn't like life lesson type stuff. It was just more of an appreciation for being able to spend time with the person who I look up to the most. And, well, my brother and I, because we both playing sports together, so it wasn't really the one-on-one time. It was just the time that we had with our pop. And that was just some priceless stuff for us. And to watch him, especially as my coach, find his biases towards his son, that was priceless. And then when if I score a touchdown and I come off, he never said anything, but he always pat me on the shoulder. That you didn't even have to say nothing. That was all I needed right there.
That was that affirmation.
He gave me exactly what I needed the way I needed it at that time. So, but yeah, those, and obviously I'm still talking about it, so that sticks
definitely
with you for a lifetime. So then, we progress, we get a little bit older, you starting to get into the driving phase, and, then you're having different conversations. My pop was a mechanic, so I learned at an early age to make sure I took care of my car. So those are the things or the values that I got. Hard work, taking care of your family. We never wanted or needed for anything. Pops always made sure we had everything we needed and most of what we wanted. We stayed in the projects. We had go-karts, mopeds. We had all the latest games. I mean,
you didn't know
we ate out.
You was living it like it was.
I didn't know I was living in the projects, and we probably shouldn't have been. Which, turns out when I found out we wasn't supposed to be. But my dad was always a hustler, right, wrong, or indifferent. It wasn't always above board, but he was always doing it He wasn't doing it for self gratification. He was doing it to make sure that we always had, and we always had enough.
Right.
Or more than enough in most cases. Fridays, we knew there was no cooking in the house. We going out to eat. So.
Yeah. So, interesting. So, as for me, I had to get that from somewhere else without my pops. And I got that from my Uncle Gus. I hope everybody got an Uncle Gus out there. Because,
the man, the myth, the legend, Uncle Gus.
Yeah, he filled in some gaps for me in a younger age. Quick story on that is I had a time where he took us to this lake to go fishing. Had him a young lady with him, of course. Took the cousins.
He's Uncle Gus.
That's right. So, we having a good time, and we getting ready to go. We, kind of getting us up together. He had a bottle of wine. He, like to drink his wine. So me and my cousins decide we gonna sneak. He was like, "Wait a minute, what y'all doing? Don't worry about it. Drink as much as you want." We like 8 at the most. Enjoy yourself. And your boy thinking he the man. 4 full glasses, crushing. Y'all, it wasn't even 45 minutes good until that ride. And I'm back there. Oh, I'm spinning, and I'm about trying to throw up. And he's sitting, he driving, he turned around, look at me, and just bust out laughing. My cousins, they just tipsy. Your boy tore up. But we get back to the house and get ready to drop us off. My mama's like, "What the hell is wrong with him?" He's like, "Oh, he drunk." Boy, she went off on my uncle, but the lesson that came out of that, the lesson from that was your boy wasn't fooling with no alcohol. It took until I had to be about 16. But the point is, thanks to this guy. But nevertheless, yeah, man, I did not.
Fun uncle?
That
makes sense.
Yeah.
That was the only time he got dropped off on the porch.
Okay, hold on. Let's stick to the stories now. However, just a lot of different lessons. He took me to my first R-rated movie, to see Stripes. Thought that was just the funniest thing ever. I mean, my uncle was more than that. I mean, he gave me a lot of different lessons, but, it just allowed me. He's a fun uncle. Me to do things as a little kid you want to do, Kid, it was the 70s, 80s, right?
Right.
Yeah, so.
Uncle Gus.
Now, with you being in Atlanta, how connected were you with your biological dad? Did you even know what was going on with him?
No, sir. So going back to what we was talking about before, he ended up getting incarcerated for things didn't know about. Did have an opportunity to go visit him. I actually as we said here, I remember there is a picture of myself and him as he's incarcerated. He spent a lot of time in jail, and my mom was basically, she was mom and dad growing up. Whatever sports, she would fill in the gap for me, when my uncle couldn't. So, so we didn't really spend a lot of time, and I didn't really get to know who he was until later on. Kind of fast forwarding, my mother remarried, and then we ended up coming back to Winston. I'm still trying to get to know the neighborhoods and everywhere, around. And I'm out walking one day, and I'm walking past this house, and I'm like, I've seen this house before, but things just look familiar. So I keep walking. Well, there's a guy standing out on the porch, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and I kept saying, why does this guy keep looking at me? And he calls my name, and I'm like, okay, who is this guy? So the closer some reason, I just felt compelled to turn around and come back. It was my dad on the front porch. Yeah, he's on the front porch. And I was 14 years old, moving back.
Wow.
And of course, my grandmother was so elated to see me and everything. And it just kind of started a relationship with my whole side of the family. And if anybody in Winston, Atwaters, we rolled deep. So it was really great to see another side of just family I didn't even know about. So that was pretty cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. And just fast forwarding, we got a little bit of time together, hang out or whatever. And on my way to kind of fast forwarding, he had to go back to jail, but then he got out. And getting ready to go into my senior year, he called me up to his place and said, man, I messed up. He took responsibility, and he said, I messed up my parole, and I got to go do 3 years. And I was like, all right, that's cool. We'll reconnect, and so forth. And he ended up, he never came out, passed away.
Wow.
Yeah.
So as you think about that, how did that affect you as a teenager?
It's funny. I didn't realize the impact of it until I started kind of hanging out around you. What do I mean by that? The way your uncles were, the way the family was. And although, let me backtrack. My stepdad was really cool. He was cool. If I needed something, I could ask him, but it wasn't. At this point, shaped my years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But until I got around your family and just started seeing different things on how you guys interacted, I was like, okay, I realized, oh my goodness, I didn't have all of that growing up. I got more. I have a few other uncles, and it wasn't no doom and gloom. I just didn't know about. It never crossed my mind until that occurred. You know what I mean? So shaping me, it impacted me big time, because as I became a father, you guys, sometimes I could have conversations with you all, and particularly you and Stuart, and then I'll get a whole different version of how I should think about things. And that came from how you all were shaped, by fathers. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I didn't think about it like that. So, yeah, it was very impactful.
And Stu, has the way you grew up, you had somebody in the house that was a good example for you. What have you taken from your dad that has kind of shaped what kind of father you are today?
Oh, I know exactly what that is. First of all, I work a lot. I emulate that. Not that I was trying to, but I find myself just obsessing with work. And I learned that when my father was not the most what's the word? When he wasn't as present. There you go. Because he wasn't participating in the family dynamic. My father didn't have money. or his money was funny. I guess I'll put it that way. It's not that he didn't have it; it was tight. And I figured out that when my money got tight, I get the same way. I don't want to do nothing. I shut down because I don't want y'all putting me in a situation where I can't do something. And the most frustrating thing as a man with a family is when you can't do something. Yeah. I'd rather choose not to do something because it's not in our best interest. But when I can't, and as a man, you can't say that. You can't say we can't go because I don't have the money. It's just no and quit asking me. Yeah. You know, so it's very stern, very shut down because you're still trying to figure this out. Like, what am I going to do to fix this? Which is how my pop ended up doing. Sometimes he do some things that was not above board, but again, when I say that, it's all in the best interest.
When there ain't no way.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So I've been there and I've done that, and I've responded exactly like he did, but he always figured it out. Yeah. So, and that's the one thing that I feel comfortable enough to say that I always figure it out.
Yeah. Now, when did you realize this about your pop?
I didn't know it when I was experiencing it.
Yeah.
But it took conversations with my mom. She called it out. She said, when your daddy money get funny, he shut down. I was like, God, to be more careful. Now I know. Because, like, working has just been a part of my life for a very long time. When I first got my car, I didn't have a job, so my dad would take me to work with him, right? So then, you know, he had a couple of different businesses. They come from my granddad. We always had like a janitorial service. To this day, we still have a janitorial service. I'm just here and not able to help. But I cleaned like 3 buildings myself as a junior in high school.
Okay.
So that was how I was able to earn money for the car that I had. Put gas. You know, he didn't give me money like, he didn't pay me like a salary.
Yeah, right.
But he gave me money as I needed it. Right. So as long as I did that, we were always in good graces. I remember this one thing. My dad was my dude too, and I'm gonna give you an example. I told you about the drinking stuff. Yeah. So, you know, in high school, you know, we dabbled in drinking. I get pulled over. I wasn't drunk, but I was drinking and I was speeding. So
it's a lot of gray area there.
I probably felt inclined to speed because of the drinking. Don't get me wrong, but I was not drunk.
Right.
So I can still remember that vividly. So I'm going down this road in my hometown, and I get pulled over. But so now I got to go to court. They take me downtown. So I call my pops. My mom worked third shift, so I called pops. I'm like, Pops, I got pinched. And he was like, what happened? So I told him. He's like, all right, come get you. So he came and scooped me up. Out of his own mouth, I ain't gonna tell your mama. Great idea, Pop. Oh my God, great idea. So fast forward a month later, the court date come up. Of course, I'm starting my senior year of high school, right? Go to court, persecute myself in front of the judge, and he didn't ask for my license. So if you don't ask,
that's right.
I don't give it to you.
That's right.
Right? So we leave court, me and Pop in essence. All right, son, go back to school, see you at the house. I'm going back to work. So we get home. My Pop get home before me. And my house is situated where you can park in the driveway or you can park up behind the house. I always parked up behind the house. They parked in the driveway. I pulls up, look at, the back door. My Pop come to the door and he was like, she know. I turned my music up. When he uttered that, because I can read his lips saying she know, right? That's just for the audience.
And you knew exactly
I knew exactly what he was saying, what he meant. I didn't know how, But I knew she'd know because it's the same day.
Right.
I cranked the music up, I slumped back in my seat. I'm like, here come the smoke. So, I knew I couldn't sit up there forever. So I just finished my song out, went on in the house. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be because she was more pissed at Pop than she was at me. So he took the brunt of it.
The adult.
Exactly. So, and he wore it like a champ.
That's all right. What song was playing? Do you remember?
I do not.
Okay.
I wish I could tell you, but I cannot. And it wouldn't have mattered.
Of course.
I couldn't even focus on the song. I'm still like, because my mom was more of a disciplinarian than my pop.
Of course.
She was ruthless. She was a puncher. It didn't matter because she had boys.
That's all right.
So she had to be. They're not gonna run over me.
Yeah.
And she is super religious. Yeah. So she was stern with it.
She did not spare the rod.
The rod was not spared.
I'm curious though. I got a question for you, Stuart. What did you learn? What would you do differently in your own house? Some of the things that you learned, that you were taught.
Been a little more flexible in the beginning. Even though I didn't have boys, I still wanted to raise strong girls, and I just felt like I saw what I saw from both parents. Yeah. So I tried to use a combination of I wanted to be present, I wanted to be the disciplinarian, but also worked a lot. Sometimes I was gone too much.
Yeah. So
finding more of a balance and listening a little bit more, because you don't. When we came up, it wasn't why.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Why?
Right.
Yeah.
Sure did.
So,
and I do feel like we were that transitional generation.
For sure.
Right.
No doubt.
Because for us coming up, if you the man, your job is to go make money. Mm-hmm. That was your job. Yeah. Be the disciplinarian, go make money, make sure the house is straight.
Right.
And I think so many of us got caught up in that. Especially for us, because a lot of us first generation college, so we're trying to make our way in corporate America, make a name for ourselves, build careers, all of this stuff. And a lot of those things do get sacrificed. For me, I remember, from much of my career, I've traveled a lot and traveling internationally. And I remember, I think Naya was 12. Or somewhere in there, and I was headed back out, going overseas for a couple of weeks. And she looked at me and said, "You're leaving again?"
Yeah, that hit.
Bruh, when you talk about broke me down to my core, when she said that, and you could see the pain in her face because her dad was leaving.
Yeah.
Again. So, after that, I had to change jobs. I had to come off the road, man. And I still do travel, and I've traveled throughout as she was growing up. But, at that time, I was gone 2, maybe 3 weeks every other month.
Well, it was good that you had the opportunity to slow it down.
And it was. But it's that double-edged sword, too, right? Because I was rolling.
Yeah.
Right? I was making plenty of money.
Yeah.
But is that everything?
Right.
And you don't want to be not present in your kid's life. And a phone call every night to say good night does not substitute for sleeping in the same house. It just doesn't.
It does not.
It doesn't.
And for me, just trying to be a disciplinary all the time, constantly. Yeah, I was such a disciplinary. And to do it all over again, listening would have probably been, a little. If I'd have done that more, I mean, there's a lot of things I won't change, but at the same time, there are things that the outcomes could have been handled differently. From my own self.
As I think back on it, right, because with my dad, and my dad passed away in 2018, and I'll set this story up by talking through how that all went down. After my mom came back, then a couple of years later, he moved back to North Carolina as well. They had gotten back together for a few years, but then they were breaking up again, and he went back to West Virginia. We had never really repaired our relationship to the point where my grandfather sat me down one day, and because I hadn't even gone to my mom's house in months when he moved back in, didn't even go down there. At the time, I didn't realize how much that was hurting my mom. I know now as I've grown up, but my granddad forced me to go around there and try and spend time with him. But the thing I could never wrap my head around, and I think it did shape me as a father, was why was he not willing to do whatever it takes to take care of his family? And I say it like that because anybody that knew my dad knows he is a genius.
Yep. I enjoyed every bit of it.
And he was. He was funny. He was very charming, but he was legit a genius. My dad was a two-sport athlete at Wake Forest, played football and baseball, full scholarship. And I always remember the story that they would tell about him, about how smart he was. He was behind in one of his classes, being a dude, right? And he hadn't been going to class. So in order for him to play baseball that season, they said, you got to pass this class or you can't play. He ain't been to class all semester. He goes in and aces the exam and passes the class. He ain't been to class, right? But he's opened the book up. Okay, I'm good. And to never live up to that potential, and I never understood that. So for me, that's what drove me. I knew I was going to be something. I knew I was going to be somebody because I wasn't going to be the person that couldn't do. I wasn't going to be the person that couldn't provide, right? And it was later in life, the year before he died, I had a conversation with my Uncle Mike because Naya had been born, but she had never met him. So I'm trying to wrap my head around that, and my daughter doesn't know her grandfather. And do I suck it up and try and repair the relationship so my baby can know her granddad, all of this? So I'm talking to my Uncle Mike. Mike breaks it down for me. Either you have to let it go and accept him for who he is today, or just break off any contact. You can't keep living with that anger.
That's right.
Because it will never be able to progress.
Nope.
And that made a lot of sense to me. Now, fast forward, me and my two brothers were like, okay, look, this summer, let's take some days off. We're going to go, because at that time he was living in Lorain, Ohio with his side of the family. I said, and we all agreed, we're going to take some time off. We're going to go up to Ohio. We're going to spend some time with Junior. Not a month and a half later, after we said we were going to do that, I get a call from my Aunt Phyllis. He died. So I never really got the opportunity to see if we could build that bridge and repair our relationship. Now, I still struggle because, and y'all know me better than anybody, if I'm ever at a point where I can't do for my baby, I will never be there, right? And she's a grown woman. I don't care. She called me today. If she needs something, she's going to get it, right? And to see my own father not have that same mentality when I know he was capable of it.
I think it was more to it than that, though.
Yeah.
You know.
And this would be good because you had that outside perspective.
Yeah, I mean, your father was a great man. I just think, you know, whatever his, for lack of better terms, his demons were that he dealt with, they were a lot for him. And I just really feel like I hate you didn't get that opportunity, but had you got that opportunity, you probably would have learned, you know, something that, man, as men, stuff that we go through as men all the time, he just couldn't overcome whatever that was. That doesn't make it.
And I know
You
this
know
is
what I
not
mean?
fair because I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
There is nothing that I can't overcome for my baby.
Correct.
So I can't understand how me and my brothers were not enough for him to overcome whatever his demons were.
So that's a bigger thing you're dealing with right there. You're dealing with something that you never
that's what
dealt
he's
with.
dealing with.
I know.
That's what, and
I understand.
that's what I can't wrap my head around.
I got you.
And to this day, I'm sure you can hear it in my voice.
Yeah.
It frustrates the hell out of me
Yeah.
because
But-
I can't understand.
But you have to take the good that came from it.
Yeah.
Because without that frustration, do you have that drive?
And that's the flip side of it.
So-
It did shape me into the person I am.
Right. So, granted, and nothing is going to be cut and dry, peaches and cream. I got full understanding. I mean, you can even turn and look internally and say, hey, within my own life, there's some things I still cannot grapple with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That you deal with daily sometimes, and it just don't make sense.
Yeah.
So, but what do? We get up and
Go
we do
forward.
the best that we can with the stuff that we can control, and we keep pushing. Because at the end of the day, the control only exists with the one person,
Right. Right.
and we can't go beyond that as much as we would like to. There's still some things that we're just not going to be able to grapple with.
Yeah.
Because there is those things have to take care of themselves. Like to Mark's point, even to my point earlier, as a man, you can't tell your kid that you're broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We're not allowed to be that vulnerable.
no, especially in the time that we're talking.
Okay.
Now it's much more
Okay.
acceptable
Okay.
to be that way.
Right.
But then
Yeah.
Yeah.
it just wasn't going to happen. and it's sad because we don't get to see that vulnerability, and we didn't get to get that understanding. But just like I said, it's still things now that we still got to deal with that we don't have answers for.
Oh, yeah. Hands
So-
down.
Yeah. And yeah, I think if I could go back and ask him one question, that would be my question. Why were we, for you, I don't even know if try harder is the right word, but why were we not enough for you to make that extra effort to build a life for us? And here's the part I skipped, right? My dad was good enough at baseball. He had a chance to go pro, right? Something happened, and I still don't know what happened. I think
That's what
my
I'm
grandma, his mom, passed away.
That's what I'm saying. There's something there
At some
that's
point,
missing.
something did happen,
Yeah.
and he went back to West Virginia.
Yeah.
But again, why were we not enough? That would be my question for him.
That's a fair question.
Yeah. So as you think back on you and your dad's relationship, what would be that one question that you would want to ask him?
If I want to be selfish, why you couldn't get that lifestyle and realize I am your twin. To this day, I still meet his friends and they call me him.
Yeah.
would ask him, man, what is it that this lifestyle attracted you that much that you, and that's not fair to say it. I'm not saying it, I'm not articulating it the right way, but I just don't think he thought enough about his kids, because I have, I got siblings that I met later on. It's just my opinion sometimes that, that lifestyle was that much better that you would rather risk all that and spend time with that. And like I said, I know it's not a fair question, but it's
I think it is a fair question.
It's my young self,
No, man. I think you are. I think you're trying to look at it with rose-colored glasses. Maybe because he's gone, but I do think that is a fair question, right? And it's similar to the question I'm asking, but yeah, what is it about that out here running streets?
Yeah,
and, because it would be one thing if you're doing it because you're trying to take care of your family,
right?
Or that you didn't have opportunity, so something led you to that. But at some point in time,
right? And again, I would probably too, later. My mom shared with me later. She was trying to finish school, and he just didn't want to be supportive. Yeah. And I'm like, why would you not want to be supportive of that? But again, different times, and the 70s, like we say, man, I even think about my granddad. My granddad was off the chain. He was a great looking man. The women, boy, was something, so, my grandma at home and running the streets, but it's neither here nor there.
I do not understand. But Stu, you still have the opportunity to do this, but what question would you go back and ask your pops?
I don't have any.
Yeah.
Because to your point, I do have them. So if I didn't have some understanding about something that took place, I've already gotten it. So I'm fortunate in that regard because he's still here. And our relationship is still developing, it's still growing. I learned something today that I didn't know about my pop, like from Saturday. We went to my sister's
Birthday.
Yeah, her birthday party. And, I was trying to be in full costume and walked in with a cane. My pop thought I was really hurt. He was mad.
Because you had told him.
Exactly. He was like, yeah. And this is what they call. There ain't no something wrong with Stuart's leg. She's like, ain't nothing wrong with his leg. I said, Dad, I was just trying to be in full costume. He was like, man, I was getting ready to go off. I was like, dang, Pop, just chill out, man. Just chill out. But no, I don't have anything, tough conversations that I needed to have with Pops and I had.
It's a blessing.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is.
Oh, trust me, I know. I don't take it for granted.
And I do think that's one of the other blessings that have come out of these past relationships. And I know with you and your girls and with Naya and hell, even your girls, we talk about everything.
Yeah.
There is nothing that's off topic. There is, when I see somebody else in the family fucking up, I made sure from the time Naya was a little kid that she saw it all. It wasn't hiding nothing. It wasn't sugarcoating situations. You will know about life before you leave this house.
That's right.
And,
it's not, but the thing too, not to cut you off, but if you didn't get in front of it,
that's right.
It was going to be introduced to her anyway.
Anyway.
Because the way they come up with social media and all the outlets that they have, I'm glad I wasn't a product of that era.
Oh, God.
We couldn't have been a part of it.
No, I wouldn't be.
what we could have.
if we
Right.
came up that way, but you just to drop it into the 80s and 90s, it is no way.
Too many skeletons in
It
this.
is no way. Like, no way. I would have been pictured. Is this your guy?
Or how Keith said, get your boy.
Get your boy.
Get your boy.
Yeah, that's her. She is notorious for that. Hey, get your boy.
You better get your boy.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So, this has been a great conversation, and I really appreciate the space that we have created here. But kind of to transition a little bit, did you have a question of the week this week?
Actually, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't because I was just dialed in on what I knew the subject matter to be.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
Okay. So then we'll move into Mark's philosophy. What you got for us?
I got some things for you, and it's funny. You guys was all up in my stuff.
are
I
you
like
a philosopher?
Yes. I think very deeply.
Anyway, just to kind of sum up a lot of what we talked about today, had to kind of write it down because this was, again,
Did you
this is
write
a
it
lot.
down or did you kind of write it
I
down?
wrote it down. And before we got
I just
here,
wish we would all eliminate that from our vocabulary.
oh, you're right.
Because we don't kind of
We
do
don't kinda.
nothing. We either do it.
Oh, we don't.
we
All
don't.
right. Great talk. You done?
My bad. Go
All
ahead.
right. Anyway.
My bad. I'm done. Or in your case, sex and vanilla.
This is what I deal with constantly. All right. So it's just some tips, just some things that kind of recap what we
There you
talked
go.
about here. And as fathers, it's important to be present. We have to be present in the moment, in our kids' lives and so forth. Listening is important that we need to do. These are just some things that I have written down. Being consistent. Be consistent in everything you do. That's important. Want to make sure we do that. Even for single fathers, fight to be in your kid's life. I don't, fight. Moms, figure it out. It's not fair to the kid. One of the things I had here too, pride. Pride kills us all. As men, we have to learn to break through that shell these days. Not how we grew up, And it's important to give ourselves grace. We ain't perfect, And I just think it's things we need to hear that. And when you're dealing with all the stuff that we talked about today, if it's tough for you, guess what's out there now, people? Therapists. They're okay to talk to. That's a taboo word, but go talk to somebody.
Less so now.
Yeah, it is. You're right. But in the black community, it's still kind of a little.
Yeah, I just said less so. I didn't say it's not completely. It's still taboo.
But
in
again,
a
those
lot
just
of corners.
some things I had.
I do want to go back and touch on one of these points because I think it's especially for young fathers and young people in general. I don't think they understand what it means to be present, right? And this is something that just comes with life and living, and you grow as a person, as a human being. Being present in someone's life doesn't mean you're just sitting on the couch in the same house.
That's right.
That means you're there. That doesn't mean you're present in your child's life. It means, and it's not just going to a performance or just going to watch their game, right? You have to be active and actively engaged with your kid. You got to know what's going on in their lives. You have to have conversations with them. Even teenage girls, when they get in the moods, and some of them, they get in that quiet, moody teenager space, I don't care.
Right. Fight
You
through it.
still have to be present and be actively engaged in their lives. Because those years, I'm telling you, I make this comment all the time. that my daughter was born 3 weeks ago. That is a real thing.
Yes, sir.
Your child will be gone before you know it. And the way you interact with them today is going to shape how you will interact with them as adults. And they're going to carry that into their relationships. Be actively engaged and present in your kid's life.
Right. And another way to say it is invest in your kids, and of course the obvious things. Remember, kids are like sponges, man. They watch everything we do.
Yep.
Everything. And you are building a foundation. They are building a foundation, rather, watching you lay on the couch, do nothing. Those are things like Stuart said. From a young age, he saw his father working hard to make sure things were done in the household. It makes a difference. So take that. Enjoy. Take that. Hope you enjoyed that a little bit.
Don't do it like Puff, though.
That's right.
So, please don't do it.
Oh, my God, I hate it here.
Wow. So as we wind down and get ready to wrap up, for those people that still have an opportunity to have a relationship with your father figure, or someone else in your life, I would say take steps to start working on those relationships. Right? I do regret that I took so long that I missed an opportunity to see what would happen. It was still no guarantee that we were going to get there. It was no guarantee that we would build a relationship, but it would have been a guarantee that my daughter would have known her grandfather. And I regret that I did not make that happen. So don't wait until it's too late to start building and repairing those relationships. Any other parting words or advice you got?
Nah, just to add on to that, tomorrow's not promised to
That's
any
right.
of us.
To any of us.
So don't wait.
Life's too short for that.
All right. And with that, that's another episode of the Hey Unk Podcast. Thank you for investing your time in listening. We appreciate it. If you have any comments, questions, you want to continue the conversation, you can hit us up on all our social media sites at Hey Unk Podcast. We love to engage with you. Until next time, peace. You excited about what?
I'm going to get my dick sucked.